I've just had this thought in my head about Omar Marmoush. I've got this feeling if we don't start playing him regularly soon, you might end up in a situation similar to the Julian Alvarez one, because I think Marmoush is a good footballer. He might not always be consistent, and he might not always have the biggest impact, but he's a very good player to have within your squad. And I think his best position is behind the striker. We haven't really seen much of him on the wing, but I'm not really sure if that's his best position, if I'm being brutally honest. I think you need to have him either behind the striker or as your striker, but the problem you have is with Haaland, unless you play two up front, he's not going to get many games as a striker, unless it comes to like the cup competitions and that. He will get his minutes in the cup competitions, but I don't think he's one of those players that's going to be like happy playing against like your Swanseas and Huddersfields in the cup. He's going to want to be playing the big games like against Liverpool in the league, Real Madrid in the Champions League, Paris Saint-Germain, those sort of profiles of games. But I'm worried that if we don't like start him regularly, we could end up in a situation where he ends up leaving. I'm a bit concerned about that for him. And then we've got James Trafford, who wants to be England's number one, and he's not going to be England's number one if he's on City's bench. So I don't really know. We've got quite a few players in the squad that I think would start for most teams, but because of the squad that we've got, they're on our bench. I think Marmoush, I just think if you put him up behind the striker, and then you can put Cherki on the wing, and then you can have Doku on the other side of the wing, and then Foden alongside Marmoush, and Nico G as your other midfielder, and Rodri when he comes back. But I don't know. I think we're going to be in a situation where a few players want out the door. That's going to happen at some point, I think, because Marmoush, like, he comes on in games, but I think he's not going to be happy with that forever. James Trafford only plays the cup games. And Oscar Bobb's on the bench quite a lot as well. So I don't know what's going to happen with him. He comes on, like, he starts like the cup games, but he doesn't get many starts these days. So I don't know what we're going to really do, because I'm worried with the Marmoush one. The Marmoush one's the one that concerns me the most, that we'll end up in a situation like Julian Alvarez where he won't be happy with where he's playing and he won't be happy with his minutes, and then eventually he'll end up wanting to leave, and then in the end we're going to end up having to cash in on him. But touch wood, that's not the case. Well, I didn't even touch wood, I just touched the table. Hang on. There we go. But it's an international break. There's also rumours about Pep potentially stepping down at the end of the season. I think that's a bit paper talk, if I'm being honest. I do think he'll stay to the end of his contract. Whether he stays beyond that remains to be seen, because his contract ends in 2027. I suppose it all depends on how the situation of the club is at that time. But if he does go, I'm leaning towards Nagelsmann as a replacement. I know he's a Germany manager, but his contract's up in... His contract's up... Sorry. I was starting my words there. His contract's up in 2026. So that's a year after Pep's contract is out. I don't know if he'll extend with Germany. I'm not sure about that, because he is German and he might want to stay with the national team. But I think if we did contact him, I'm pretty sure he would take the job. because he's been linked with English clubs like quite a few times in the past. Like he's been linked with Spurs. I think he might have been linked with like the likes of Chelsea, Liverpool. But I'd take him personally. I think he's a good manager, and I think there's been times where he was harshly cited, especially at Bayern Munich. And if Company wins the Champions League, then there's your other manager. But I don't want to bring Company in based on what he's doing in the Bundesliga, because you've got to remember Bayern Munich have won the league, like 11 out of the last 10 years. The only year that they didn't win it was the Leverkusen year, where Leverkusen was just unplayable and they went invincible. You'll never see a season like that ever again, I don't think. Or not for another 2, 3, maybe 4 generations. So that's all I've really got to say. But it's the international break. I just thought I'd come on and do a bit of a video. Like, share, subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And I will see you guys soon. Take care.